Hey everyone, it is St. Patrick's Day 2020, March 17th. It's about 17:07, somewhere around that time as I record this. The temperature is inside here, it's a little warmer. It's about 16 degrees Celsius, so about, 57 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there, I guess. What am I going to be talking about today? Well, this is not a geo rant. I just wanted to get back into something that I started a couple years ago. It was a project. It's the Freda Sandstone project. Now, some of you may know that I redefined in a couple of papers. I redefined the Jacobsville sandstone it's been about 4 years ago now. Wow. And before that, or after that, about the same time or so, a little bit newer, I did the Copper Harbor Formation. Now, the Copper Harbor Formation is the basal clastic package on top of the mid-continental rift rocks. You have the Oronto group, the Copper Harbor is the basal unit. These are lithostratigraphic units. So I redefined that. There are definite members within that, at least east of the Porcupine Mountains on the Keweenaw. There definitely are. And to the west a little bit as well. Above that is the Nonesuch Formation. Compared to the surrounding formations, it's thin. We're talking 300 meters or less usually, so less than 1,000 feet, typically around 800, but I'm not going to touch that one. That is a terrestrial lacustral or lake deposits, and they're very complicated, and I'm not even going to tackle that. Above that, the top is the Oronto group. The youngest formation is the Freda. Now, above that is the Jacobsville group, which I redefined. So I've done the Copper Harbor. I'm not doing the Nonesuch. This is the Freda. Now, I have some videos below. You see below, I did them a couple of years ago, I think 2018, when I decided I was going to tackle the Freda. The Freda is a very thick sandstone, and it's very pronounced in northern Wisconsin, up into the Keweenaw a little bit, more like Ontonagon County of the Upper Peninsula. It's very prominent and it's very thick. It's not completely exposed anywhere along Lake Superior, although it does dip deeply in places, or steeply in places. It is not totally exposed. The only place we have a complete succession of the Freda sandstone is in the St. Amour core, which was actually Alger County in the Upper Peninsula. And you can find the contact between the Jacobsville and the Freda in there, and the Freda goes all the way down to the Nonesuch. That core is massive. It's one of the best cores I've ever seen in my life, and it is deep. It is so deep. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I've looked at it for the Copper Harbor paper, and I've looked at it for the Jacobsville paper. And I'm going to look at it again for the Freda. But the Freda is going to be a little different this time. This is a package. I assembled this stuff a while ago. The Jacobsville group, I didn't have to pull any zircons from that because it's been done. Actually, my mentor and some others, Dr. Malone, around the same time, just a little bit before I started working on it, had actually pulled zircons from the Jacobsville. A lot of zircons, I think over 2,000. Well, and other formations and the equivalents of the Jacobsville, the Bayfield. That's how I was able to pull the formations of the Bayfield group over across the Keweenaw Fault into the Jacobsville. And the Jacobsville, the Jacobsville was originally a formation, and it was not subdivided east of the Keweenaw Fault. It was only identified east of the Keweenaw. Well, the zircons from the Bayfield group and from the Jacobsville formation confirmed that what we suspected for a long time, that the Jacobsville is stratigraphically, lithostratigraphically, for the most part, chronostratigraphically, for the most part, equivalent to the Bayfield group in Wisconsin. So I just brought the Bayfield formations over. There's east of the Keweenaw Fault, there's a couple other formations that are not present in Wisconsin, and Bayfield got dropped because it's a newer name. Jacobsville being older took precedence, so it became the Jacobsville group, which it got elevated from formation to group status. Bayfield group dropped, but those formations were brought over. That is basically what I did. Now the Freda is not subdivided at all. At all. Okay, at least not formally. West of the Porcupine Mountains in Gogebic and Ontonagon counties in the Upper Peninsula, it does appear to be divisible. There appears to be a basal coarse facies, a middle fine facies, and an upper sandy facies. They seem extensive. They likely are extensive. East of the Porcupines, the Freda becomes a little more problematic up until the St. Amour core. It's not well exposed, but it is exposed, at least the basal part. And I will be pulling zircons from the Freda this time because there aren't any. All right. As you can see, what I'm talking about here, this is Keweenaw Peninsula. Here's Lake Superior. I probably should have done this at the beginning. The Keweenaw Fault's like right about here. This is where the Jacobsville exists. There's where that St. Amour core is. These are Freda locations. And then the Bayfield group is over here. But Bayfield group is younger than the Freda. We know that. So I'm going to pull zircons to see detrital zircons. The Freda, unlike the Jacobsville, does, and actually I may have found intrusions in the Jacobsville, but that's something for another time. There is an intrusion in the Freda called the Bear Lake Stock, and it's dated, I believe, at 1062, so 1062 million years ago. But it has a huge margin of error on it. I think it's like plus or minus 30 odd million years. That's a huge margin of error. So I'm going to pull a lot of detritus from the base, the middle, and the upper and see if they flow on either side of the Porcupine Mountains and see if I can use those. Because I can't get an age with detritus, but I can determine source area. So if we had a lot of shedding from one continuous source area of the Freda, and this is before the reverse activation of the Keweenaw Fault. It was a normal fault at the time, theoretically. So the hypothesis is that at the bottom of the Freda, regardless of where it is exposed, the detrital zircon source on the south end of on the south shore of Lake Superior should relatively be the same. I mean, there's going to be different ones, obviously, because it's a huge area, but I should find similar zircons from similar source areas if it was derived from the rocks to the south. And you know, the Freda is a fluvial stream deposit, lake deposits, shallow lake. So the sediments would have come from the south to the north into the Mid-Continental Rift Basin. And there is a great, beautiful paper. Actually, it's not a paper. It is a old thesis from the 60s where a lot of this was done. Oh, I got good logs already from the state of Michigan and everything. And I'm going to try not to ramble too much more about this. Where is that bloody thing? It was done in the 60s, and it's what I'm basically basing most of what I'm doing off of. What is this? I'm sorry. I should have been better prepared for this, but I should have them. Oh, here's a geologic map I did. This is available on my website of Potato River Falls. See, this is that part that has the core. Oh, no, this is Copper Harbor. Sorry. It's a Exeter Copper Harbor Falls. And here's the units. And just here I did... oh, no, I didn't name it. Never mind. But I did give them facies. Because, like I said, there's a coarse, a fine, and there's Copper Falls State Park. And that geologic map was done in 2011, and it is on the website. I have done some work already and collected some samples and plotted them on a QFL diagram. These are my goal. These are the samples I want to get. This stuff is all going in the field with me. But this is stuff I'm trying to show you, stuff I didn't show you before. Like I said, you can, if you want to know more about this project, you'll look at the videos before. So I have started plotting them on QFL diagrams. As you can see, QLF diagrams, you can see there's not a lot of very pure sandstones. Most are acrosic or lithic, but there are a few. Let's see, where is this? I do have some good logs. Well, I have those. I might have left them at work, but anyway, man, if I did that, I'm going to kick myself in the teeth. I got a couple more here to go through. Site outcrop locations, characteristics of the Freda. Here we go. This is 1968 sedimentology, the Upper Keweenaw sequence, northern Wisconsin, adjacent Michigan. This is what I'm basing most of my work off of. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to a lot of these locations, take samples. I said this was thoroughly done, and if it wasn't for this, I would be going blind most of the time. And it looks like I'm going to just redefine the Freda within here. We no longer think the Thiel fault is actually a real thing. The geophysics suggests it may not be, but this is. So it might just be in this area here. There's definitely a lot more information. And like I said, we had to say no more core. So after I got all this information together, and I'm going to try to keep this under 15 minutes. After I got all this information together, what I did was I needed to develop a conceptual model. It will probably change. Matter of fact, I guarantee you it's going to change. It's not going to be like I have it here. But based off the previous work and the limited present exposure I have to the Freda in the field, I have developed a conceptual model. And I'm going to check it. This is my prediction, okay, of what I'm going to find. All right, here is the Keweenaw Peninsula. Here's a Keweenaw Fault. There's the UP right there. And you can see here, this is where the Freda is at or near the surface. All right, this is Lake Superior around here. And as you can see, I've divided it. Now you're going to see this when we go to Wisconsin. There is an old Amnicon and where's the other one? Eileen Formation somewhere. It's probably out to the side. Those we no longer think are legitimate units. The Amnicon and Eileen have never been detrital zircon. They haven't had detrital zircons pulled from them, which I'm going to do, but they've had heavy mineral analysis, and they seem to be equivalent to the Freda, and yeah, I think so, in the Jacobsville, in a part, because there's not too terribly good exposures in a lot of these areas, and originally Thwaites thought that there was a series of anticlines and synclines in the area, but actually we have a hard fault, the Keweenaw and the Douglas/Owen faults, that actually divide things. That's what these thick black lines are. Here's Lake Superior, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Here's a Terra Patrick number 27, number 722 core. They did not have a core of that. They had auger cuttings. I actually went through those and classified them once. I drove all the way to the natural history place in Wisconsin, and I did it for them. And I believe this is available online, and I did descriptions the best I could. Oh crap, that was a long time ago. I don't even know, I must have dated it somewhere. Yeah, 2015, it wasn't that long ago, it was 5 years ago. Coming up on 5. But anyway, you can see I have my conceptual model, extended extrapolated member contact. I'm making a prediction of where I'm going to find members. And there is something unique in that 68 thesis right here. There's a very immature zone. I'm going to try to confirm that the best I can and see if it actually is a thing. And if it is, the Freda is generally immature as it is. It's more mature than the Copper Harbor, and it's a little more mature than the overlying Oriental Formation of the Jacobsville group. But overall, it's pretty immature. But this is supposedly a really immature part, all right? So I need to confirm that, and then I need to be able to explain that as to why. Hopefully I can be able to get some good structural measurements, like strike and dip. Maybe there was a specific locally derived stream package from that area, because as you see here, it goes north. And the Freda is in between the faults now, but it generally dips like this between the faults. So it's quite possible that that's representative of a localized stream basin. There is the, over here we have the Presque Isle location. There's many Presque Isles in the UP. This is the furthest west one in Gogebic County. The Freda is there. It's a syncline. It's a localized syncline. We may have something similar to that here, just not as pronounced as this, because here you can see the Nonsuch below it and the Copper Harbor below that. You don't see that here. You're higher up in the stratigraphic column. So, but there could be some sort of structure there. And the Amnicon and the O is Orienta, Freda. That's the Amnicon. So I gotta get some samples of that and pull some detritus from that. But anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap this up soon. I lied. We're over 15 minutes. Let's go for 20. But I did get this. Some of you have already seen it. I got rid of my old field bag that was a nylon crap bag. I got a Klein tool bag. And it opens all the way, but I'm not going to do that here. I got my brand new rock hammer. I got my field tape, my knife, my Bruntons down there with my GPS, and my batteries and my notebooks, all that stuff. This thing is awesome. It's heavy, but I don't care. I obviously can't put my notes in there, but my notebooks are in there because they're small, those yellow ones. But I mean, these big notes I've been showing you I can't put in here. Right now, though, I might move them, are, you know, stuff like this. Because even though I wrote it, I forget things a lot. I can't remember everything all the time. So I take this with me. This is the best one. These are lab books. They really shouldn't be in here anyway, because I'm never going to use them in the field. That's what this is for. Why do I do that? All right, the Deluxe edition, and it's in black and white, so it's a lot cheaper than those are. I'll link it below if anyone's interested, if I remember. Let's see. We have that. What's up here? Oh yeah, waterproof protective case, a smaller one. That used to fit my old iPhone when I had a 6. Now I have an 8. I do have a bigger one in here, but I do use that. We walk to islands in Lake Superior, especially Little Presque Isle. So yeah, it's good to have your phone waterproofed while you do that. But yeah, but this thing probably weighs about 10 kilograms, 20, 25 pounds, somewhere in there as is. But anyway, I think I'm just going to wrap this up. I'm not going to make it 20 minutes. I think we're going on 19. We're at 18:15 now. Anyway, that's it. If you have any comments, questions below, go ahead, leave them. I hope you learned something. And if you're in self-quarantine, good luck to you. And I would also like to urge people not to overreact. Yeah, the coronavirus is a bad thing, especially for the elderly and people with compromised immune systems. But there's no reason to be buying 300 rolls of toilet paper. That's just ridiculous. And it takes away from people who actually need it, like the elderly or people living by themselves that are poor, you know, that kind of thing. But anyway, that's it. Sorry to end on a sad note there, but I just felt that was necessary. Anyway, comments, questions, leave below, and I hope you learned something.